Aloha, Dr. Michael. Aloha, class. For my commentary review, I'm reading from Michael Card's book, John, the Gospel of Wisdom. Uh, I just, I'm falling in love with this commentary because of its simplicity, easy to read, easy to understand. Um, Dr. Michael started a devotion by saying, basically, therefore, da 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 da. And then he said, if you want to know what the therefore is, go backwards, right? So I'm in John 13, and as I'm reading the scripture here, Jesus knew they're in the upper room, Passover, Last Supper. Jesus knew that the Father had given everything into his hands, that he had come from God, and that he was going back to God. So, then there's that key word, so. So he got up from supper, laid aside his robe, and took a towel and tied it around himself. And that so got me thinking, I mean, Jesus knows that everything has been given to him from his Father. All authority, is like come from God. And if the everyday person know that in their mind, they would, I think they would act like, ta-da, uh, you know, I got everything that God get blessed me with, right? And then, um, but so pops in there. So Jesus got up from supper, laid aside his robe, and took a towel and tied it around himself. So that got me thinking, what was Jesus thinking at that moment? And Michael Card goes on to show us that the context for Jesus getting up and washing the disciples' feet was found in Luke 22:24. Because the disciples in context were arguing about which one of them was the greatest. So while they're arguing about which one of them was the greatest, and Jesus knows that God the Father gave him all the authority, Jesus interrupts that argument by standing up, girding himself with a towel and a robe. You know, Jesus was basically, he gave up on words. He spoke the truth to them. you know, the greatest must become the servant. And now he's going to act it out. And it's a moment that they'll never forget at the Passover meal, a moment that we'll never forget, right? He basically, when Jesus takes off his robe and wraps a towel around his waist, the imagery is he's becoming a slave, he's becoming a servant. And that image just stunned the disciples as one by one he washes their feet. He does what a servant would do. But this is their master. Yeah. And Jesus explains very simply, he's their Lord and teacher. And if the most significant and important person in their life can set this example of humility, they should do the same. We should do the same. Because greatness in Jesus' value system, Michael Card says, is making oneself small, becoming a slave who has given up his or her choices. And then Jesus closes it out by promising them all blessing if they will do these things. So that's what I love about this commentary. It's simple, it answers questions, it helps to make sense of the story. uh, where I would not have known. Well, I could have looked hard into the word soul, why Jesus got up, but Michael Card did it for me. So, yeah, that's it for my comment on this commentary. Thank you.